Today we're going to be looking at the angle plate, and our objective is to construct the front view, partial auxiliary view, and a partial right side view. So this is our isometric that is giving us a visual of what it looks like, and it also provides us with the rest of the information. So we're first going to construct the front view, and so I've started it. All right, we're going to leave this next to it here. I've started it, and we want to get this inclined surface, which is 45 degrees. We also need to get the base of it as well. Now, we can't just sketch 45 degrees here because we want to make sure that our dimension is the same consistently. So it's 7/16, and that's going to be too close or too small. So we're going to round it off since it's a sketch, and we're going to use 8/16 or half. All right, I've already started it here. We have 7/16, so I've used a half. So I'm going to use a Post-it, and I'm going to get the width of it so we can carry it through. So this is our half. So we can carry it through on the opposite side. And I'm not sure yet where it's going to stop, so I'm just concentrating on where I want to sketch this. Okay, and where it connects there, that's where it's going to stop. If we look at our isometric, this inclined surface is going to be this area here. So we can actually get what the length of this is. So if this corner is our edge, then this is where it starts, and this tangent is the end point here. So it's going to be this dimension here is what's going to give us. So that is from the edge to the center point, it's 1/8, and then from the center point to the tangent point, it's 1 1/8. So that is 2 2/8, or 2 1/4. So that's what we're going to measure off. But since we can't measure it off, again, and since I'm not using a ruler, I'm just going to make little markings here. So we have, if this starts here, 1 3 4 2 3 4. So this distance is going to give us 2 1/4. Right? If I use the edge of my paper to here, let's see, 2 1/4. Okay? Now we're going to go from the end point of my paper to here. I'm going to make a mark. Now we have to do this from 45 degrees, right? So I'm just going to make a mark here so I can get an idea where this starts. So I have an end point. And then I'm going to connect it. Erase what we don't need right now. So this is an idea of where our front view is going to fit. Now I'm going to start with my right side view. So let's work that out. Okay, I'm going to use, so we know from this point we have to project. This is the right side view, the side here. So I'm going to project it over for the height that we need. I'm going to start at 2 units from it just to give it a little more space. Sorry, 3 units instead of 2. And let's get our depth. So our depth consists of, this is our center line, so we know it's going to be symmetrical on both sides. From our center line, it's 3/16. From our center point, our arc is 11/16. So I'm going to round this off. Instead of 13/16, I'm going to make it as 12/16, which is really giving us 3/4. And I'm doing it same thing, 11/16, 3/4, just to give us an idea, so that it's really, remember, it's just a sketch, so it doesn't have to be accurate unless we are using rulers to get this specific thing. So if my arc is 3/4, I'm going to just place where that center line is going to go. Then we have 3/4 here again. So we go this is where my center line should fall. That's half of it. And then same thing again, 3/4, 3/4. Remember, we're rounding it off, so 12/16, 3/4, and I'm using 3/4 as I round this off as well. So I'm going to go in and construct my arcs. Create our square for our arc. And let's go in with our post-it. Mark off where what our radius is for our arc. Okay, we'll do the main one first. Okay, so we have our arc. Now I'm going to go in with the cutouts that we have here. The diameter of our arc is 1/2 of an inch. So we're going to do that on both sides. So we've already identified where that is. So if we extend this, this is where our center line is going to fall, right? Because this shares the center point. And we know the dimension is going to be 1/2, so I'm going to just project 1/2 an inch from where it's going to be positioned. I'll create the squares I need for my arc. And my second center point is 3/4 of an inch from the horizontal center line to the second center line. And I'll create the box for our construction of our arc. So you should know already how to construct your arcs, right? Because that's the foundation initially starting how you construct circles and arcs before we even get to orthographic projections. So now we have our right side view constructed in the construction lines, blocking it out. We want to construct our auxiliary view, partial auxiliary view based off of the problem. So we're going to project 45 degrees from the inclined surface from this point and this point, and that's going to give us this. This is what we're trying to construct in our partial auxiliary view. So let's project it out. Now, since our edge that we've done here at 2 1/4 is slightly off, since it's a sketch, I'm just going to go slightly above it so that y'all can sketch the image much easier. I'm going to start my auxiliary reference plane. It has to be parallel to the inclined surface. So that's our auxiliary reference plane. And based off our surface, we know again this point or this corner represents this edge. So if we look at this point, which is also this edge, we know that this is the edge that we're projecting here. So we need to get the overall depth of that, which we already have here. So I'm just going to take this and it's the actual width of our post-it. So I'm going to take it over and transfer my depth to my auxiliary view. All right, just get this edge. So this is where my depth is. Based off of my surface, my center line starts from the base at 1 1/8, and then this feature is 11/16. So I'm going to round it off. Let's do 1 1/8. So let's get a marking for 1 1/8. And I'm going to take some marks here to get our center, horizontal center for our circle. And we have 16/11. I'm going to round that off at 3/4 just to make it easier. So I'm going to mark off 3/4. So this is going to be 3/4. I sure I marked that somewhere already. Okay. And then we'll mark this here. That's for our feature. That's just the feature height. So we can go into that. I'm going to so that's the base of our auxiliary that we just created. We want to go in with this portion. I'm going to start with the circle on the inside because it's sharing the same center point before we make the outer arc. The radius of this is 1 1/8, so that's what I'm going to then do next. It's not what it is. Actually, let's do the outer edge of our auxiliary. So I'm going to mark off where my center is falling, and I'm just going to transfer that over. And what we want to do is create our semicircle, the full semicircle, even though it's not forming a full semicircle. So it's 1 1/8. We have that dimension here, so I'm going to mark that off. So we have our arc. Now I'm going to just take the edge of my paper and I'm just going to tip it to this point till it connects to my arc. Right, and I'll do it on the other side as well. And that's how we're connecting it. Now we can define the arc when we are constructing it. When we define our object line. So that should give you the illustration of what this looks like. Now all we have to do is construct the circle on the inside, and since it's a two-dimensional drawing, we're not seeing it in an incline, you construct your circle as you would before. So I'll extend this. It's sharing the same center point. Right, you can pull your guides. The circle diameter is 1 1/4 based off of our hidden lines from our front view. So we divide that into half and we bring it over. So our radius is going to be 5/8. All right, so that would be, we have half and it's going to be half of it. So this is like about 5/8. Once you've done this, you can define your object lines, your center lines, and lighten your construction lines if they're too dark. Now that we have a visual of the view for our auxiliary view, we're going to project this back to our front view. Let's make sure we have the same distance. I'm going to take a new marking here because I think I'm slightly off. So this is our visible feature. We now want to define our hidden features, and we know from the drawing we have a hidden line. And we can, and I'll go in with my center line as well, because that's what we would have projected. Right, center line, project down, and I'll define the rest of my front view. We have an edge that's happening here, so let's just project that over. And this edge will be defined. Let's define our right side view. Now when we are showing a partial view, since we are looking from the auxiliary view and we cannot see another part of the view when showing a partial, we can show the edge. But since when looking from the right side view, we can still see part of the inclined surface. So we want to put something called a break line. So this little broken line here, it's something we call a break line. So we can just do slightly shaken line, or it can be zigzag lines. So that's our break line. We'll go in with our center line. Remember, we have two center points. So the characteristics of our center lines are long and short lines. We extend it past our tangent points and or object line, depending on what it is defining. Alright, so this one should go all the way to our second tangent point. Same thing on this side. And we can add our center line here as well, since we have it in our drawing, to show that this is symmetrical on both sides. Alright, and then we define the rest of this. Alright, so based off of this, we have two features on the inside. We cannot see it from the front view, so which means it is a hidden feature. And we can also tell that there are hidden features from our front view as shown here. So let's project that over from our edge straight across. That would be a hidden line. Same thing here. We project our center line. So short line in the middle, extend, short line in the middle, extend past the object line. Front view, right side view, auxiliary view.